What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Enthusiast Radio. It's your boy Dakota here with Anthony and Eli. Anthony, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. Eli, how you doing?
I'm doing great as well.
And I'm doing great. Yesterday was actually, I don't know about you guys, but it was great where I was. It was like the first nice day of 2014, and I had the luxury. I was so happy to do this. We were outside on the porch playing video games. We were playing some Melee. It was a great weekend for Smash Brothers because it was the Revival of Melee 7 tournament in New York. And as we're recording this, it just ended like five minutes ago. Mango just defeated Mewtwo King in the singles bracket. Really hype set, a ton of awesome action, and after all the hype that Melee has gotten in 2013, Smash seems to be growing like every weekend. This is a really exciting tournament, and I just want to talk about how awesome competitive Smash has gotten, and that Revival of Melee 7 was a really great tournament. I don't know. It's pretty awesome. But I know you guys are very not versed in competitive Smash at all, are you?
No.
I just watched, last year I watched EVO pretty consistently, but that's about all the Smash I've watched.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. I think it's really awesome. I'm all for it, and I think it's really cool that Nintendo has a game that's become something like that, so I have nothing against it, but I'm not well versed in it.
Yeah.
This past week has been interesting because there's a lot of important events coming up soon. Major League Gaming is showing support for competitive Smash Brothers again, and the event that is supposed to have Smash Brothers show up, MLG Anaheim, which is supposed to happen sometime in the summer, hasn't been confirmed yet. Neither has Melee Spot and EVO. We reported on this at Nintendo Enthusiast within the past 2 weeks, where EVO has announced their full lineup for their games, including Street Fighter, Marvel, King of Fighter. I believe King of Fighter is there. Killer Instinct, I believe, is on there, but not Melee, even though Melee was the second largest event at the in terms of viewers last year, and that's because talks to Nintendo are still going on, and apparently MLG is still talking to Nintendo. So Nintendo is really the one roadblock here in Smash getting bigger than it was last year. So we're really just waiting around, and this was another tournament just to show Nintendo how awesome competitive Smash can be.
So how much of a role do you or how much blame do you think Nintendo's gonna, and how much of the reaction will be all over the internet if Nintendo ends up striking down this sort of this whole movement?
Well, I know last year what happened was, Nintendo pretty much gave EVO the no-go one day on the stream,
I remember this.
And the internet blew up. And it took about it was really from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I think. That's all it happened, and then, Eastern. And then the decision was reversed. So a lot of people think it was more of a legal thing, but that just goes to show how Nintendo is really disconnected from the competitive scene, where people were saying, oh, maybe it was a legal issue. They had no idea that Smash was even streamed at all. But this isn't this isn't competitive Smash's first rodeo. I mean, Smash has been streamed at major events since the MLG 2006 and 2007 days. And now that esports has gotten so far now, the fact that Nintendo seems very distant is just very disconcerting, because all we want is just the thumbs up, the permission, just let us do our thing. We would love Nintendo to support us outright, but it's more about the legality of it. If Nintendo doesn't want the game streamed at an event, you can't stream it. It's their game.
Do you want free publicity?
I mean, that's how a lot of people see it. It is free publicity. I mean, ROM 7, Revival of Melee 7 just ended 10 minutes ago with 20,000 people watching it. At EVO last year, the Melee competition hit over 100,000 concurrent viewers. It's a growing game, and it needs help from Nintendo to reach the plateaus that League of Legends and Dota and Counter-Strike have reached, because those games have had direct developer support from their companies like Riot Games and Valve. Nintendo doesn't directly support competitive Smash, even though it supports competitive Pokemon. I don't understand that, because competitive Pokemon is way more random and takes less skill, but I guess that's, of course Nintendo would do that. I don't know. It comes down to Nintendo just playing ball, and we're ready to bat it back. They got to pitch it. They gotta play game with us, and it really doesn't take a lot. We want the support, and I don't think considering that's Melee and Smash in general wouldn't be where it is relevant without the competitive scene. I think, especially Melee. I mean, the game came out in 2001. That was 13 years ago, and the game's still being played in major tournaments. That wouldn't happen without the scene, and Nintendo can't deny that. So I think that's worth something.
So, Dakota, just to play devil's advocate, so one of the things that Nintendo or analysts have talked about before is how if you let Melee have such a large presence, and Anthony talked about free publicity, but if Melee has such a large presence, it would maybe take away some of the impact that this new Smash Brothers for the 3DS and Wii U is going to have. So wouldn't that be like a valid concern on Nintendo's part?
That's a totally legitimate concern, which is why I think they need to get involved now more than ever, because if they want a game that's going to have a reaction like Melee or better, they have to realize that Melee was a weird accident, but it ended up being a really good game, and people are going to be, a lot of people, at least in the competitive scene, are going to be hard-pressed to move from it. But the majority of people who play Smash are not competitive players, they're casual players. They're non-competitive, or I wouldn't even say casual, just people who don't play in tournament. Nintendo isn't catering to the competitive scene. To be honest, the competitive Melee existing is not going to put a dent in the Smash sales. If anything, everyone who plays Melee is going to buy the Smash game, and even if they go back to Melee, they probably still put money to buy the game.
Yeah, I agree.
The same thing happened with Brawl. I mean, everyone in Melee bought Brawl. It's really Nintendo. What Nintendo needs to do is step in and be like, hey, we support competitive Melee, but also you should check out Smash 4 is going to be great, and we're going to support the competitive scene. Because if Smash 4 isn't as good as Brawl, which I think it will be, but if it's not as good as Melee, it's not going to live over a decade like Melee will. And if Nintendo wants the longevity of its games, Smash isn't a series that comes out every year or 2 years. It's a series that comes out once in a while. So I don't understand why they don't want a scene that'll actively support and allow the game to continue living. And if they were releasing a new Smash game every year and they wouldn't want people playing the game from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I could understand that. It's the same reason why Infinity Ward doesn't support Call of Duty 4 anymore, because they want everyone to play Call of Duty Ghosts. Same thing. But or even they don't support Black Ops 2 anymore because they want people to play Ghosts. It's a different situation here, and I don't know. At this point, it's 2014, and how much the Smash community has gone through, there's no reason not to support it, and if anything, supporting it will make people more hyped for Smash 4, not just competitive, but just in general, because, competitive play is the most top play. I don't know why Nintendo wouldn't want to support, a ton of awesome high-level Smash 4 play and show people how cool the game can be. I don't understand why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from it, I feel like, and I think people are unreasonably scared in that regard. I don't think that's valid.
And Sakurai has even said that the new Smash Brothers is supposed to be more mechanically like Melee.
Well, it's gonna be faster than Brawl.
In between Brawl and Melee, yeah.
Yeah, that's the focus, and that can be taken a number of ways. Melee is a fast game, but it's not just the speed; it's the options. Overall, Melee just has more options offensively than Brawl does, and that comes in the form of wave dashing, wave landing, L canceling, all that kind of good stuff. All the good stuff that may scare people from Smash at first, but it's really no more advanced than doing an advanced thing in like a sport or doing an advanced thing in StarCraft or anything like that. It's something that people who have gotten good at the game have found out is good. Hopefully they find a good balance. If it's as accessible as Brawl but as skillful as Melee, it'll be a really good game. If it's not that, but it's still faster than Brawl, Brawl's lived for 6 years and it's sort of just waiting for Smash 4 to come out, but we made Brawl work, so I think if it's better than Brawl, there shouldn't be a problem. I'm excited for Smash 4. It looks like they're putting a lot of effort into making it a good game for all kinds of people. I understand that Sakurai tried to make Brawl for newer players because that was the demographic for the Wii, but now the Wii U is a little less catering to that demographic, so hopefully we'll see a difference that's a worthwhile change. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited.
All right. I have one more question for you, Dakota, before we leave.
Yep.
How many more years do you think Melee has in it? Obviously, it's been around for more than 10
good
now,
question.
So it's been going for a while now, but how many more do you think it has? How long are its legs gonna?
This past Apex had, I think the most entrants for a Melee tournament outside of Evo ever. So Melee's gotten bigger and bigger. I don't know why. There will always be people to play Melee. I wouldn't be surprised if people were playing for another 10, 20 years. The game's that good.
Neither would I.
The game's that good.
All right. So cool. Thanks for this chat. I thought it was very interesting, especially Anthony and I not really coming from this professional viewpoint as Dakota is, playing much more Smash than us.
That's interesting.
But nevertheless, we're still all very excited for Smash 4. Feel free to leave your opinions on this whole Evo situation and MLG situation in the comments section below. And visit NintendoEnthusiast.com for all the latest news, reviews, and all sorts of Nintendo stuff. Thanks for listening, and see you guys next time.